Hello again, Thane Walton here with another Pinewood Derby. I had a request to talk about putting in the weight in the back of your car, some options for that. And then as a bonus, afterward I was going to talk about the bent nail and angling the axles with a new block. So let me just take this for 1 second and I'll give it back to my son. So here you can see kind of a collection of Pinewood Derbys over the years. So at the beginning, and I'll show you these in a minute. There's my first car on the far left there. Depending on the rules for a particular year, I might have extended the axles, but I've always tried to keep them pretty thin and the weight and back. Although this was my attempt at like a skateboard, a big fat skateboard with a hole in the middle. Thin, taking the weight out, extended axles, arrow shaped, but all of these were. The weight was done with lead, and then as we got into the newer stuff, I started using tungsten. And this was actually from being from a family of fanatics. I told you we had a Pinewood Derby at our last family reunion, so I had to box them up, make them look nice. This was actually the last car we did with my son. After winning over and over, we decided we were just going to do something for fun. So if you've seen the Lamborghini with Sharpie, look it up online. That was our Lamborghini with Sharpie. And then that car you've seen. Oh, there's one I'm sending to my son, my friend who wants a winner for his pack. And then Jonah's last car that was a real winner. But let me give this back to my son, and we'll talk about the weight here for a second. So, options for weight. Back in the old days, and bring it in closer. So this was the first car we built. These were done with lead. And I actually had 3 lead sticks, and I just put one in here, one, you can kind of see on the side, 2, and 3. So this is kind of 2/3 in front and 1/3 behind the axle. With that extended axle, I didn't have much room, and then I had to drill out some weight. And those I just drilled in on the side. Same with this. Actually, no. Here I dremeled out some space in the rear, and then just poured lead, melted lead, and poured it in, and then drilled out what I didn't need. Lead in the rear again. Here was kind of a hack job. I put a piece of wood here and a piece of wood here, and then tried to drip some wood in the back. But that's kind of all old style. Let's get to the newer styles. So here's what I'm doing now. The best weight is tungsten. So these are some tungsten weights that I bought, and so I have some circles. You can't really cut this stuff. It's about 1.5 times heavier than the lead, and if you have too much, you got to remove it. And so that's why I have all these little blocks. These are my favorites, is the little blocks. And what I've done is in the rear here, I dremeled out a whole bunch of area. You can't see now because I put epoxy on it and smoothed it out and sanded it. But basically, I just filled these in, all these little blocks, and I kept weighing it and testing it until I had the right amount, and then I just glued them in. Well, it turned out at the end, I was still a little shy on the scale, so I added a few extras with just this sort of stuff. I bought at a hobby store, and with this, you can just snap off these little ends and use that. There's also tungsten, I don't know what you would call this, moldable. It's pretty heavy, but you can kind of cut off a tiny little slice if you need to add a little bit of weight. But that's the best, these tungstens. Or this was actually, you go online and you look at one of the places I bought stuff is maximum-velocity, maximumvelocity.com. Here I actually bought this pre-made car and this tungsten weight. So there's another one I was going to show you. But so this tungsten weight is basically just glued on, and then I worked on all the wheels and tires and nails and things like that. So those are some options for the weight. Again, my favorite being now just carving out the back and using all these little, loading up little pieces of tungsten here and putting them in. So that's weight. Hope that helps. Now let me do the two bonus things. I want to talk about the nail. Here's a tool I got from one of the websites. It actually helps pull out the nails out of these tires. So this is my bent nail here. I'm going to pull that out. All right. See if that's the bent one. Boy, I don't know if you can see. I thought this had a little bend in it. Maybe not. Maybe that's not my bent one. But the idea was with those bent nails in the front, you know, typically they'll have a little bend. You want to make sure the bend is, you know, ahead of the nail in this part so that the wheel is going to still spin freely. And then with that, I can put it in here and adjust it, you know, forward or back to make sure it's veering the right way. So that's kind of the bent nail. Sorry that that's not a truly bent nail, but I have some others. But the other, here's one fresh out of the box I did. So fresh out of the box, you know, when you see the lines in your car, the line closest to the rear, or the shorter line is the one you want closer to the rear. The one that's got more space is going to be my front. So I just actually took these nails and, you know, so here's my rear. I just kind of take it, and I want this bent at an angle, so I'm just kind of inserting it at an angle just to kind of test it. Now, since it's a whole block of wood, you know, it's not going in all the way because it's blocking against the wood, but just to kind of test it, and then my front wheel's angled inward, the rear wheel's angled outward. So I put on my board here. Notice that it's still too heavy. So I grab this little tungsten weight. I'm just going to tape it in the rear and give it a little test. So it's actually veering the wrong way. So at this point, I would pull this out and maybe start drilling. You know, try drilling some various holes in here at an upward angle so that it's going to be angled inward. To, you know, if I don't have a bent nail, I'm just going to keep testing it until I can find. Actually, you could maybe even push it in at a little bit different angle. So let's see, we want it kind of turned inward. So I'm just going to do this quickly, see if we can. That's going to be tough to push in, but give me a second. We're live action here. Hopefully I don't, man. Get this tool to grab the nail. Do that. We want it turned inward. Might have done it. Let's see. Take the weight on. Yeah, totally. You see that it totally veered the other way. So there's just lots of play you can with the wheel to get it veering the right way, and then from there, you know, I would just slice it out thin, like, you know, make it nice and thin. I like to hollow it out and keep as much weight off the wood